Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Matawan, New Jersey. Your host, of course, Sturch and Gooch over there. Good morning to you, my friend. And, of course, the Pick Bish in the house, feeling better than over the weekend, so that's good. Over the weekend, hope everybody weathered the storm. I know the South got hit a little harder than we did. I got like 5 inches. Pause. And then, a lot of shoveling and a lot of bad backs.
I got like 8 to 10.
That sounds like a glorious weekend. So anyway, what is going on? So anyway, if you want to support Chop Sports, be sure to do so. Patreon.com/Chop Sports. Patreon is the way to do it. If you ever thought to yourself, man, I really want to throw some support behind Chop Sports and everything that these guys are doing on the day-to-day, that's how you do it. Patreon.com/Chop Sports. And of course, if you're watching this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Had a nice little influx over the weekend. I do want to shout out. I have to actually got to follow up with this. Our boy Mike Mercado, our resident EA gamer, hosted a watch party on Saturday night for Madden Bowl, right? Not Saturday night? Yeah, Saturday night for Madden Bowl. And I told him, I said, look, for everybody that subscribes and leaves comments on the last video, I'll enter them in a $25 gift card for Amazon. So bang, somebody's gonna get that. We picked up 5 or 6 subscribers there. Tell your friends.
I thought that was one of the bots or the bots. Bot?
What? What do you mean?
We were seeing like Oski or
Oski, Team Oski. I don't know what that means or whatever, but it's Mike, and he spread the word. He told them, go comment, go subscribe, go do all that stuff. There's the paper toss. Kobe. It is good. So we like I said, picked up a couple. Appreciate all those guys coming up. Big week coming up for Chop Sports. Wednesday is do or die. It is Judgment Day. The Washington football team will name their new name, and if it's the Washington Commanders, we had it first. If it's not the Washington Commanders, leave us the fuck alone.
Didn't the Commanders just buy?
Yes, over the weekend there was
there was some traction. I think we're right.
Thecommanders.com was purchased by. Now anybody can purchase a domain, right? We've done it. Kyle's done it. People that were associated done it. The thing is, there's a certain company that handles all that.
No. What happened was, I think they're purchasing it from somebody that owned it already. It wasn't like they just bought it.
Oh, well, even better.
That's why it's even more news.
I wonder how much money that person made. My God, that could be that could be a lot. But anyway, big week for that. But of course, we'd be remiss not to start with the craziness that we saw. There's a big show. We'll talk about it going into the Tom Brady stuff, Adam Schefter, all that. We will get into all that. But first and foremost, the game that's most recent in our brains, and that is the now NFC champion Los Angeles Rams defeating the San Francisco 49ers. I did the obligatory, because I can speak, text sent to a couple of my 49er fan friends after about 15 minutes after the game. Just like, sorry, sorry for your loss. It's almost like a death. I'm sorry. If you're a big sports fan, like if you're me or you're Gooch, like I know there's a rule with Gooch, unwritten rule, give it a day. Like I don't bother you, and you didn't bother me when the Cowboys lost. So, but like for me, for other people that I know that aren't as crazy as me, I give you like 15 minutes and be like, hey, man, sorry about that one. A couple people are like, hey, it is what it is.
Hey, guys, I'll see you when I see you. I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, sorry for your tough loss. You just beat us last week. Deal with the loss. I was rooting for the 49ers, but I'm not going to sit here and send a bunch of heartfelt texts to people that just didn't do the same to me.
That's true. Wow. I didn't even think about that. I got my boy Greg actually almost ripped me on Instagram after the Niners beat the Cowboys. So I really shouldn't have texted you, actually. If you're thinking about it, I actually take back my text.
I rooted for the 49ers for reasons that I said on Friday, but I really I'm not going to sit here and text.
I couldn't bring myself to root for the 49ers, being a Cowboys fan of the old school generation. We have 5 rings. They have 5 rings. I don't want to give them a chance to get to 6.
Could you imagine me actually taking my phone out and reaching out to somebody? I don't even respond.
You don't respond to me.
So I don't respond to anybody. So I'm not reaching out to anybody. Leave me alone.
Very true. You don't respond to me. So it is what it is. So getting into this game, obviously going into this, the 49ers were on a fun run. They beat Dallas, and Dallas beat Green Bay and Green Bay. Now, could Jimmy G deliver another, not even a historic performance, just like, don't mess up, Jimmy. Like that's the kind of mentality that he was going into this game with, is to play a flawless game of football. Don't mess it up. Don't make mistakes. The 49ers had a certain record. I believe they're undefeated when he didn't turn the ball over, but they were like 7 games under 500 when he did. So clearly if so be so, here where we're at. A couple things stand out right off the rip. The 49ers secondary, no answer for those two receivers. Odell Beckham and Cooper Kupp, went for 255 combined out of Matt Stafford's 300+ yards. So there was a lot of yards. And shout out, I wrote his name down so I didn't, give him his due. Kendall Blanton. Tyler Higbee went down with a knee injury, right? Every other quarterback in the world, if Mahomes would have lost Kelsey, I feel like he would have been lost without Kelsey.
Well,
Higbee's not Kelsey by any stretch.
Let's pump the brakes on that.
No. I'm just saying, next man up mentality, that kid balled out. So shout out to the whole Rams offense. I said it last night. You can agree with me or you don't have to. It's okay. We can have this discussion. Cooper Kupp he won the Triple Crown, right? In receiving and all that stuff. He was in the conversation for most valuable player, even though that's not going to happen because he's a receiver and it's a quarterback-driven league, right? But Cooper Kupp, to me, is the best pound-for-pound receiver. The kid does it all well. And yes, Captain Literal Man, I think it was one of the Grassos, came at me like, well, he dropped one last night. I know. I'm saying, but when you tell somebody he doesn't drop anything, it's not literal. It's not like, oh, by the way, he has 0 drops in his career, because everybody drops something. But I feel like reliable, route running, run blocking, everything. This guy does it all. And Cooper Kupp now shoots up the ranks for me and surpasses a guy like Davante Adams. Davante Adams, now let's call it how it is. He's got the best quarterback in football throwing him the ball. Cooper Kupp had to deal with Jared Goff. Cooper Kupp had to deal with Matt Stafford, who's a decent quarterback, but he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's doing a lot more.
Let's stop saying he had to deal with Matthew Stafford. He had to deal with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford's a great passer. So I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to argue with your statement being that Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in football, because that's your hill. I'll be fine on my hill over here with Davante, at least maybe for another month or two. I'm not sure what's going to play out there. $30 million a year. I'm not so sure, Davante, but we got him at least one more
heck
year
of a price tag
with the franchise tag if we really want to run it back and have the actual last dance and maybe win something this time. But look, Cooper Kupp, great receiver. I'm fine with you thinking that. Your statement was you'll die on the hill. I don't think that if there's somebody that's going to sit there and argue that opinion of yours, then they're just an argumentative person. But I don't believe it. I don't think Cooper Kupp is better than Davante Adams just yet. You saw even Davante in the game against the 49ers. They were on pretty much roller skates. He was triple covered. When I say roller skates, I meant ice skates. They're
the same thing.
Triple covered, and he still had 9 catches, 90-something yards. So it's not Davante's fault that they lost that game by any stretch. Cooper Kupp has an extra week to prove himself. So after the week that he got to play and Davante didn't, then he showed out. Fine. I'm not going to sit here.
That's called having an actual debate between two grown-ass men that are debating about Cooper Kupp and Davante Adams. For whatever reason, within the Chop Sports Facebook group, people go at each other's throats if they disagree. It is insane to me. Guys, you're all men here, I think, I would hope, right? Even the women out there. I know, look at Dino like, well, I'm not. But you guys can have a conversation and you can disagree with me and say, I believe that XYZ is better than Cooper Kupp. Okay.
I could sit here and give a bunch of reasons why I don't think it's, like I said, it's a little bit of a smaller sample size. Cooper Kupp is proving himself. Listen to the guy talk. He knows what the hell he's doing out there. Outside of the fact that he's able to cut in and out of, make his breaks, deception, you name it, route running, all of it. He's the total package. He knows the game of football. He's in a really good situation.
Smart dude, yes.
He's got a Pro Bowl talent now with Odell across the other side of him. A coach that's willing to give him the ball a ton. A quarterback that's also willing to give him the ball a ton. Very good situation. Combined with the talent, yeah, you can make the case, of course.
What is the deal with Shanahan? Is this another big spot where he just didn't deliver as far as calling the right play? Look, you have. I'm not saying you have to abandon the run, but I don't know, man. It's just Shanahan looks like he got outcoached. He got outcoached by McVay.
Well, I actually think it's the opposite. I think Shanahan did a decent job. They didn't have the best play calling down the stretch.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But if you look at what the 49ers have done since day one with this team, is that they've done the same exact thing. They're not going to sit there and dial it up. They have a lead. Their game is to, even if they're down 10 in that situation, I expect the 49ers to play the same way. The difference in this game yesterday was just pure talent. The Rams are a far more talented team, and I actually saw McVay actually botching a few calls, the timeouts, the
challenges were kind of dumb.
He was pacing up and down the field. He got saved by a really talented roster. I think Shanahan's going to obviously take the brunt of this because another blown lead, but really it was a blown lead. It wasn't like they had it in the bag. They took a 10-point lead. The Rams marched downfield within minutes and scored. So it was like, did they really blow a big lead? I don't know about all that. The first half, they got dominated in time of possession. The 49ers did, and they ended up with the lead going into the half. So they found themselves in a position that they've been in all the time where they're not as talented, but somehow they're in a position to win the game late in the game. And we're talking about Jimmy G. All right, Jimmy G doesn't have the capabilities that a Stafford does, that most of the other quarterbacks that have been in the postseason have. So I think Shanahan is hindered with his ability to call plays. Jimmy G ends the game with a pick six to Ramsey if Ramsey doesn't drop the ball.
What about Tart, bro?
Who?
Tart?
Oh, God.
Good Lord. My brother just brought it up in the comments. So like that's he takes that ball. That game's over. Like, game's over. In my mind, the game's probably over.
Now, I have not an issue. Like, you want to make that play, but when guys make mistakes, like the Rams had a drop touchdown early in that game.
Oh, what's his name?
I'm pretty sure as well.
Flugenscheisel or whatever.
So there's things that take
German
place that in that moment it's a game ender. So obviously it's like, damn, man, that's tough to swallow right there. But a guy's out there in the field making a play. It wasn't a mental error. He dropped an interception. That's why he's playing safety and not wide out. So.
What about the fact? All right, I have to bring
playing.
up this. I mean, it seems like it's like pointing out the low hanging fruit here, right? But like Aaron Donald is a game wrecker, and that's why he's always in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year. Because yesterday, what you saw was him in the backfield pretty much all game long. No answer for him, bro.
Honestly, though, they had zero sacks.
No, but I'm saying it's just pressure.
The
run was stuffed a lot.
They couldn't. The 49ers could not run the football, and that was the reason why they didn't win the game. You could sit here and say Shanahan all you want, but they failed to execute their game plan. They couldn't control the clock, and they gave the Rams way too many opportunities. The Rams did not play well. I don't think they played well. They exposed a porous 49ers secondary, but at the end of the day, they only scored 20 points. They won by 3. Against a team that we were looking at, they had to come back. They had 7 points the entire game until the fourth quarter. Am I wrong? It was like they weren't playing well.
Right? Kyle, good morning to you. Jared Goff would have covered the 3.5. Just saying. I think he is a Jared Goff stan, if I'm not mistaken. But me and Kyle were talking in the group chat about just the game wrecking ability of Aaron Donald and that final play. Jimmy G, man, you've been in this spot before. You have to live to see another down. That backwards shuffle pass ordeal, trying to be Brett Favre, that wasn't going to work. Go ahead. However, my man should have caught it though.
I'll say two things.
Right in the hands.
I'll say two things. One, you got a guy like we just talked about last week, and who is now talked about with Lawrence Tynes talking about he's on the level of Aaron Rodgers, and I'm talking about Eli Manning. The third down play in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, where David Tyree caught the ball on his helmet. What business did Eli have throwing that ball into triple coverage? In desperate situations like that, it was only third down, so he could have thrown it away and then lived to see another down. Instead, he threw into triple coverage, and you saw what happened. Now, Jimmy G making that flip right there, they were desperate. Time was running out. There was a guy open. It wasn't a bad move.
It wasn't like he was open. He was just there.
He was there, but
they would have collapsed on him.
Now, if he takes that sack, it's 4th and 20. So it's not like there was really much of a chance after that.
Throw it out the sidelines, bro. You have that opportunity to do it.
Watch that play again? He was in a tough spot. At that point, I'm doing exactly what Jimmy G does, and Jimmy G's not the reason why they lost that game. You got exactly what you expected to get out of Jimmy G. They weren't able to run the football, and that's really what it came down to. Jimmy G, what did you expect Jimmy G to go out there and throw for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns?
No.
Absolutely not. No. I saw Jimmy G make decent plays on third down. He converted when he needed to.
Couple balls laced in there.
He's not the best. He's not the worst, but it wasn't on Jimmy G yesterday. That's for damn sure.
Staying with the 49ers, Jimmy G, right? So we all saw the Odell Beckham run over to Deebo Samuel. Deebo was a mess, right? He was a crying mess. And look, sports are sports, and that's why they're sports, and that's why it's the greatest thing in the world, right? That emotion was raw emotion from Deebo Samuel. Now, my question to you is, they got to lock him up this year as far as contract, because he is literally an unrestricted free agent going into next year, not this year, going into next year? Are they going to give him that extendo? Now, the only reason why I ask you that is because of the wide receiver market. Your boy asking for $30 million is absurd, right? Absurd. Not saying that he's not the best in the league and he deserves top dollar, but DeAndre Hopkins ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, so
$27 million a year for Hopkins.
This is agent speak anyway. What do you want them to say? Is Devontae right now going into this point in his career, going into his third contract? I think he's made he fought his way into the best conversation. Now you could make the case that he's the best. You could say Cooper Kupp.
Sure.
It's irrelevant right now as it stands contract wise. I don't want Devontae Adams getting $30 million a year, clearly, but the way the NFL works is DeAndre Hopkins is the highest paid. If you plan on making Devontae the highest paid, you might not have to reach 30, but you're going to have to come damn close. And it's going to have to exceed 27.5.
So your argument right here is what I had to literally with a sword fight off people about Dak Prescott, because the contract, you can't pay him this much money. Well, you have to.
No,
if you think that he's the guy, then you have to set the market.
The Packers front office is in a really tough spot right now.
Yeah,
because
course.
Devontae doesn't want to play with the
franchise
tag. Obviously, I don't want to make this
Nobody
about what
wants
the
to play
Packers
on
are
the
going to do
tag.
with their offseason. We'll go back to the Debo thing.
Yeah, no, I'm saying Debo.
Because
now
we could have a whole ass conversation about what I think they're going to do with Devontae, which we will next week because we have nothing else to talk about. So
I'm sure.
But as far as Debo goes,
I'm just saying Hopkins at 27. Julio Jones is making 22 a year. And then you got guys like Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper making 20. Where does Debo Samuel fall in that market where like he's got, you would think it's like 25 or more, right? I mean, a year.
No, absolutely not.
This kid is the offense of the 49ers. You lose Debo Samuel, you lose a lot.
So here's the reason why no. And I'm going to say it because right now there's technically 2 to 3 years of team control left with Debo. And
there's only next year. It's it. I just looked at it.
Okay. So then he's an unrestricted free agent.
Correct.
Then what do you do?
If you're
Devontae's an unrestricted free agent this year. Guess what the Packers are likely to do?
The tag makes no sense.
The tag makes plenty of sense.
What you told me the tag was going to be over $20 million this year.
The point that
What's
I'm
the
making
point
is
of the tag?
Okay, I'll tell you the point.
You could spread out this contract.
The point of the tag would be exactly that. It would be to force get more time to negotiate an extension, which clearly Debo and the 49ers have plans to be. I shouldn't say it that way, but Debo and the 49ers will be on the same team. They'll be together for the next 5 years, right? I don't think that the 49ers are willing to let Debo hit free agency to negotiate. So what it does is if another team does sign your guy, then you get compensation for it. So say no reason for it. At least then it's like, okay, you're going to sign him to this money, but then you're going to have to give up 2 1s as well because we own his rights still.
So just because he's on the tag.
Yeah. So at least that it prevents that. And you get him at another year for that price. So if you're in win now mode with Jimmy G, which I think a lot of what they're about to do with Debo very much so hinges on what they're going to do with Jimmy G. I can't imagine them moving on from him after this season. I just simply can't do it. Even if they think Trey Lance might be more ready, that's a more like a mid-season move. Maybe they give Trey Lance the keys going in, but I don't see it. The teammates all are on Jimmy G's side. I just don't see Trey Lance being the guy. So Debo plays out his contract and most likely gets franchise tagged if they're not able to work out an extension before then. So there's more like 2 years on the Debo thing.
Minus the franchise tag. Kyle brings up the point that I was just saying. Like he's younger and better than Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper. Like these guys are all making in the 20. Michael Thomas is a lost afterthought. I don't even know if he's staying in New Orleans. Like that kid, I have no idea what the hell to think about that guy. It's almost as if he's like a forgotten commodity. Weird, right?
I think that, just looking at the way contracts escalate, you could say the production, but I think Keenan Allen and these guys get that contract based on a few things. One, where they've done it. This is their third deal. Like the track record is proven now over 7 seasons, not just 2 or 3, like in Debo's case. I don't think that Debo is not necessarily worth it. I just don't see an NFL team giving him that much money. I just don't. And because of the amount that they use him in the run game, there's other factors now too. It's like how much wear and tear is going to be on Debo. You're going to give this guy the ball out of the backfield to be your bruising back. It doesn't add up.
It's not. He's not the guy.
And
Hawaii Mike coming in. They have the highest paid tight end, the highest paid fullback and use check, and they have the highest paid offensive line. So they're going to find themselves in a spot where they have to make a decision. Guys like Brandon Ayuk and like those other role players that you had, and the kid that they just made in week 18, the kid Jennings, I think his name is. he's going to be the guy. You know what I mean? Like, they have to make do with what they have right now.
I'm not sure what their cap situation is.
I'm more curious. I'm actually more curious to see if Jimmy G did enough to be the quarterback of this team in 2022. Like, is this the 49ers saying, look, man, you got to the Super Bowl, you lost. You got to the NFC title game, you lost. Like, is this the turning point now of saying, like, all right, man, we gave you a bunch of shots. We loaded you with some offense. We kept your tight end, right? We did everything we could on offense, at least, because, again, their secondary is kind of shit. But, like, is this the time you turn it over to Trey Lance? Is it going to be an open competition? You know what I mean? Like, I'm very curious to see how the 49ers play this out going forward.
It's definitely an open competition. I think that there's going to be trade rumors surrounding Jimmy G just because of the situation, whether it's the 49ers that are reaching out or it's just the media, because there's obviously teams of need with quarterback position, and the 49ers are in that position where they got this guy that they drafted third. I guess it depends on what the 49ers coaching staff and front office believes in Trey Lance. Like, obviously they used a third pick on him, but what they've seen this year, I don't know if there's been enough, but you haven't really given him the keys yet. So
I don't think they're going to give him the keys per se. I think they just have to see a lot more. They just, and you can't judge it based off preseason. So you might have to just throw him into the fire. I don't know. But in any event, the Rams are going to the Super Bowl, which is crazy. I mean, a lot of people picked them already to go to the Super Bowl from Jump Street. The pieces that they added throughout the course of the year, the Von Millers, the Odell Beckhams, like, Beckham is in a good headspace right now where that kid is balling out, and he's absolutely, he's to me, he used to be like intolerable when it comes to like social media and stuff. I'm like, he still kind of is. He's not Jackson Mahomes, but I'm saying, like, he's now playing in a system where he feels like he can excel, and the Rams are high powered, and they're going to be taking on the AFC champions as we move over to the other side of things, the Cincinnati Bengals. Don't adjust your sets. Don't make sure the volume's working. Like, yes, the Cincinnati Bengals, who won 4 games last year and 2 games the year before that, are going to the Super Bowl, which gives hope to all fan bases that you can turn it around with a good quarterback and a great receiver and a good young coach. So therefore, my Cowboys have no goddamn chance of ever doing what the Bengals are doing. But it was such a great game, man. It's such a feel-good story. Jackpot Joey, man, he's taking it all the way, has the potential to be the first ever quarterback to not only win the Heisman, win a national title, but also win a Super Bowl. That's mind-numbing how he goes into this. And can we talk about, before we get into the Bengals, the fact of, like, right off the Rams thing, can we talk about how we went 54 years of a team never hosting a Super Bowl, and now it happened 2 years in a row? Like, what's happening here? That's to me, that's nuts. But this game in particular, like, obviously the Chiefs are going in there, the heavy favorites. 7.5 is a heavy favorite. Nobody had the Bengals.
Well, pump your brakes, though, because the Rams didn't even host the NFC Championship, even though they did. That was insane.
Oh, that was brutal.
49er fans
that was
took
brutal.
over. Keep going on to the other game.
But like I said, now I lost my train of thought. But yes, that was a good point, because it was a sea of red. So shout out to the 49er fans for literally taking over SoFi. But I would assume that in the Super Bowl, there will be Rams fans out there. But the feel-good story right now is the Cincinnati Bengals. Like, you could tell me Stafford is the feel-good story because, again, he goes from no playoff wins to now Super Bowl reps, right? Which, to be honest, is numbing to me. But now you have Joey Burrow doing things like, he's got this. Like, I know we made mention of this before, but is this the guy that we're going to, like, start to hate because of the success that he's about to get? Yeah. It is the Bengals after all. Like, can they sustain this shit?
I made the comparison to Tom Brady like a couple months back, and people were kind of making fun of me. I made it tongue in cheek, but even with Kyle's comment, has Joe Burrow beaten anyone this playoffs?
Oh, boy.
It sounds like Tom Brady for 20 years, whereas, like, has he ever even done anything himself where there was his tuck rule? He got hurt, Bledsoe comes in. There was so many factors in all of Tom Brady's wins where I just don't think that he ever did anything. Tom Brady should have 0 rings, in fact. But no, of course that Joe Burrow is that dude. It's clear as day that he's that guy. When it's 3rd and 7 and he's swallowed up whole and he scrambles out of the pocket and gets a huge first down. You could say, has he beaten anybody? Maybe it was gifted by other guys, but you know who didn't gift the game away? Joe Burrow. He did against the Titans, I guess. You can make that case, but you got to make the plays. Did Matthew Stafford gift away the game yesterday? Did he beat anybody for that matter? They almost blew it against the
Bucks.
The Bucks. That's Cam Akers' fault. You know, like there's a lot of things that factor into the games right now that you can't sit here and take anything away from Joe Burrow. He went on the road and he beat Kansas City Chiefs again for the second time in 4 weeks in a very big situation both times. The Chiefs needed the 1 seed the last time, and this one was for a trip to the Super Bowl. Down 21-3. You could say the game was gift wrap.
Oh, I was sitting on the couch saying, "Oh, this game's a wrap."
I went
no
to
shot,
bro. I went to 5 below. I missed the entire third quarter. Had to get paint.
We're painting
But
now.
like, it wasn't to like paint the walls.
Championship
do like crafts.
Oh my
What's up, Ash?
God.
How you doing in there?
doing crafts on Championship Sunday.
Yeah, my niece and my
You
girlfriend.
tell them to calm down. It's Championship Sunday.
No. I needed to get out anyway. The game was over. The game was already over. It was 21-3.
You're like,
Chiefs.
ah,
I was like, all right, I'm good. Let's go. Where you want to go?
I tell you what, man, we're sitting there. Me and my brother are watching this, and my dad, and we're watching this game. And actually, my dad missed it. I had to explain to him, hey, you're never gonna believe this, but the Chiefs went down the field again, marched down the field before the half. We're 5 yards away, 1 yard away because of a penalty in the end zone. Which, by the way, come on now with the penalties in the end zone. But they had an opportunity to cash in. And they run a play instead of taking 3 points. In games like this, I understand you're up 21-3. You get the foot on the throat. You have a chance to really just kind of say goodbye, good night before half. You got to take those points, man. You got to. And I know Andy Reid, if they would have scored a touchdown, yes, we're talking a whole different thing, right? We're talking Andy Reid, what a genius. Hey, I can't believe he decided to do that. But that right there, the stop right there, not only changed the course of the score, but it changed the course of the game because the Chiefs came out in the second half and forgot how to play football.
Yeah, it definitely changed the course of everything. They would have won the game had they gotten points there. But I don't think Andy Reid made the conscious decision to not take points there. It wasn't like, you know what? We're just gonna go for it. Like he had full intention in trusting his veteran players in Mahomes and Tyreek Hill to not do what they did and throw basically a lateral. It was essentially a run play.
You can't do that. Put the ball in the end zone.
I don't know what the call was. Clearly, nobody's going to know what the call was, but I would imagine that there was probably something else drawn up, not Tyreek Hill on the flat to get tackled a yard behind the line of scrimmage.
According to Hawaii Mike, Andy Reid said that he deferred to Mahomes.
Yeah, if you watch the game, it was pretty much plain as day. Mahomes said, no, give it one more, and he rolled his hands like that. Yeah. You listen to your quarterback who's got an MVP.
Do you listen to your quarterback?
Absolutely. Yes, you do.
Or can you just be the coach that you are and say, look, kid, you had your chance. We're kicking a field goal.
First of all, as the coach, I'm still going for a touchdown there. No doubt about it. 5 seconds, you're on the 1 yard line, bro. It's like fade. Boom. That's what you're doing. Just throw it up to Kelsey.
There's so many things that can go wrong with the extra play.
No. Right there. There's really not much that should go wrong when you have the guy that you have at quarterback.
Correct.
It's not like you're
in that regard, correct.
It's not like you've been there before. You have so much talent on offense. You have the best tight end in football, and you're on the 1 yard line. Bro, they got down the field in 13 seconds against the Bills.
And it felt like 13 seconds in
this was 5 seconds, and they couldn't get it in, and they were on the 1. So miss me with they should have taken the points. No, they should have gotten points, but they shouldn't have thrown a lateral in the flat.
So, all right. So if you say you're good with going for it, right?
Absolutely.
And you're deferring to the quarterback, right? Who the fuck drew up that play? Who's responsible for that one? Bieniemy? You're gonna blame him now?
Maybe Bieniemy doesn't have a job for a reason.
But dude, you have to know in the huddle when you're going for that play, right?
Yeah.
The one thing, let me try to figure out the words here. 6 words. Got to be in the end zone. Or if you do the got to be in the end zone. You got to throw that ball in the end zone. The only way that play blows up is
first of all, you have 9 seconds. You're on the 1 yard line. I'm getting 3 plays and then a field goal. No doubt about it.
You did the one thing I'm throwing
3 slants in a row or 2 slants and then a fade. That's what's happening right there.
It's unbelievable,
it's
man.
I'm telling you right now, or it's going to be a touchdown and then a field goal.
It's a big, big thing, man.
And it cost them.
Set the tone. It set the tone. Absolutely set the tone.
And when are we going to start looking? And I'm not trying to drag anybody right now, but Andy Reid has played in 8 conference championship games, and he's made how many Super Bowls? 2.
1 with Philly and 2 with the Chiefs.
3. So he's come away with 1 ring out of 8 conference championship.
He's there every year.
That's fair, right? Nobody talks about Andy Reid as being like a, how Aaron Rodgers can't win the big game. Andy Reid can't win the big game. He's only won 1, right? Patrick Mahomes, very similar situation to what's happening with Rodgers. He won his Super Bowl in his
early in
his career, and now he can't win a big game anymore. Now, the Super Bowl was definitely not on Mahomes. He was throwing the ball. He was like parallel with the ground, throwing 50-yard bombs down the field. Like he had no chance in that game, and he did a lot. But now you're starting to see Patrick Mahomes just crumble in the big moment. I guess it's really hard to say because the Buffalo moment was like just a week ago.
Great moment, right? And that a defying moment in his career. And then the following week you come out and again, that's fine. You want to defer to making those plays. Then you look at him in the second half, and it was just deer in headlights. They couldn't get it done. And could we talk about the worst player in the NFL right now? Eli Apple. He is the shittiest corner in the league that makes the biggest plays because there's certain plays that he's not making.
You're mixing him up with Trayvon Diggs.
Oh, Trayvon Diggs. That's
was
so funny.
So perfect.
First of all, Trayvon Diggs would have had all the interceptions that these clowns dropped yesterday, by the way, because not for nothing, had 11 of them.
All right, I didn't mean that, guys. I did not mean to bring up the Cowboys, but back to Eli
Always
Apple.
in your head rent-free, my friend. But Eli Apple,
definitely not mine.
Obviously, can make the big stop. He's the one who stopped the cheetah before the half, right? Then he drops an interception, and then he's like so hot and cold, it's ridiculous. And I shout out the New Orleans Saints social media who congratulated Von Bell and one of the other former players, but not Eli Apple in their congratulatory, hey, go get him, kid. This is I can't believe
Hendrickson?
that. I don't remember, but all I know is they didn't tag Eli Apple. He talks a lot of shit, man. He talks a lot of shit. I don't know what was getting said back and forth throughout the game. But, man, as soon as you're done winning the AFC championship, you decide to go run to Twitter and call out the cheetah and call him a baby?
Oh, I love it.
Do you love it? Because
yeah,
Cooper Kupp is going to have his lunch. You know what I'm saying?
Guess
or
what?
Odell or Van Jefferson. He's not good at football. Why is this kid getting what? You cannot. You make one play. It's like Clifford Franklin from The Replacements when he makes that first catch and he goes back into the huddle after dropping 67 balls. He goes, "I got skills, baby." No, you don't say that.
So wait, you think Cooper Kupp is taking notice that this guy Eli Apple is talking shit to Tyreek Hill? So he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna really go cape up for my fellow wide receiver." Cooper Kupp does not give a shit.
No, what I'm saying is Eli Apple's probably going to be the one chirping, and he's going to get burnt.
Well, what happens when you used to talk shit to guys like Jordy and Cooper Kupp, and I'm not saying this because they're white. It's because they're soft-spoken guys. You're just not going to get a reaction. He's going to go out there.
All white guys are soft-spoken.
He's going to go out there. He's going to go out there, line up, and do his job the same way. Eli Apple is going to play his game the same way he does. He'll probably have a couple PI calls and then argue, maybe get a personal foul. That's all good. Right, Eli Apple and Tyreek Hill had their moments on the field, and Tyreek Hill, let's not make any mistakes about it. He taunts people. He does the peace sign. So,
which, by the way, was fined for it and not flagged for
whatever it. Whatever was said in the game, I'm sure Tyreek Hill, deserved whatever he got. That is what it is. I have no problem with players that don't like each other continuing to not like each other. This is what it is. This is what we get now. Next time they play, it'll be a great moment when Tyreek Hill fucking burns them for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And you know what? I think Aikman brought it up on the broadcast, or maybe even Joe Buck, but I don't think Tyreek Hill, when he's running his routes, I don't think he's running 100%, because if he's running 100%, he's going to overrun everything. You know what I mean? He's almost too fast.
Well, it depends on the route.
I'm watching his route where he's coming across the backfield. He actually caught a touchdown pass, right? He catches a laser from Mahomes in the first half.
Yeah.
But the dude, you could tell he's pulling up.
He's got to, because
insane.
What happened? You lull the guy to sleep. You don't want to run full speed. You get even. It's called getting even. And as soon as you get even, you slow them down, and then you decide when to turn it up, and then they have to turn it up.
Burners, man.
Yeah, that's Tyreek Hill's game. But if he ran full speed all around all the time, it would look weird.
Yeah, the story is obviously the Bengals going to the Super Bowl for the first time since 89 or something like that. It's been a long time since the Bengals were there, and the last time they were there to play the 49ers, and then it would have been a nice little rematch of history there, but it's not. So the Bengals will be taking on the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl, and obviously we have 2 weeks to break this down, so it's going to be a long 2 weeks. Maybe we'll have a couple guests, former players, stuff like that. We'll try to get them on here to give their opinions on all the stuff that is Super Bowl this year. But there was other news, and it's big news in the NFL outside of this game. And it was broken by Adam Schefter of ESPN. Mr. Schefter, once again, jumps the gun, announces Tom Brady's retirement after 22 seasons in the NFL. It's hard for me to talk about this without really going in on Adam Schefter. But this is the kind of shit that it's journalism 101, man. you need sources, right? You need sources, credible sources, or sources, as he would say, right? What he did this weekend was a fireable offense when it comes to Tom Brady, because Tom Brady, if you looked at it, Big Ben last week when he retired, Big Ben's social media team, Big Ben's, they got ahead of it to make their own announcement, put out a video, and then everybody retweeted his video, right? So that means he got the chance to go out on his terms. Adam Schefter took that ability away from Tom Brady. You do not do that. Like when you throw flags against Tom Brady or you make Brady bleed his own blood, there are certain things you don't do, Adam. You did it. And your sources are not credible because right after he announced it, there was 2 people that came out and said, F off, bro. And that was his agent and Tom Brady's dad. So who the hell is closer to the situation? Like, my source is closer to the situation. Who's closer than those guys? Who is your source?
And then like 20 minutes later, he's like, oh, Tom Brady's dad came out and said, so it's like, are you know, he's telling you that. Like, we know, that we already saw it break on all the other networks, but like, he's telling you, he might as well just send you the fucking text. Like, dude, what are you doing? And instead of making it seem like this is new news again, no, like what you did was you never had news.
You never had your car.
Never had any news there, bro. It's not re-news that he unretired. Like, he never retired to begin with. I have a weird feeling that Tom Brady's going to come back and win the Super Bowl.
Despite now, he's just going to come back and do his thing.
Adam Schefter, man. The same thing happened. Andrew Luck did, in fact, end up retiring. But I can remember back where there was Adam Schefter was taking heat because of the way he broke the Andrew Luck retirement story. Now, if you're Adam Schefter's source, shame on you, dude. Like, at what point are these guys going to stop giving these bullshit? Or is it just him going with a story? Because I was reading all week that Tom Brady was leaning towards retiring. I could have broken it. I could have been like, Tom Brady retired, but he didn't. So what's the point? Why are we even having the conversation right now? It's low class by ESPN, of course, what they always do.
First. Got to be first.
It's not even that it's first. It's like they hijacked something else. It was like draft day with Aaron Rodgers. If they had that story, they waited on it, and waited for the timing of it, which I think is shoddy reporting to begin with, because at that point, you're no longer caring about being first, which is what they typically do. What Adam Schefter really is, and I'm not going to even bash him, because what happens when you start getting paid a lot of money by your employer is you become a yes man. And that's what Adam Schefter is. He's just doing what he's told at this point. I don't think that Adam Schefter is sitting here.
I'm pretty sure Adam Schefter gets paid per tweet at this point, because now I think he's like, there's people out there that like to hear themselves talk, like me. I like to hear myself talk. I listen back to the shows, right? I think I have a decent voice, but this guy,
that makes one of us,
bro. This guy, right? He literally tweeted out, and I'll tell you, this is an example of an Adam Schefter tweet that he needs to put out there to his followers in case you didn't know, right? He put out a tweet as soon as the Bengals won the AFC. He put, the AFC champions are the Cincinnati Bengals, and they will now take on the winner of the Rams and the 49ers in the Super Bowl. Water is also wet. Like, what are we doing here, bro? I don't understand. So now people, including myself, are running with the obvious tweets that Adam Schefter, this is not the first time. Go to Adam Schefter's Twitter. It's an abomination, by the way, but go to his Twitter and look at the stuff that he says. You're going to say, I knew that. I knew that, but I knew that. Like,
rewind to 3 or 4 years ago where Adam Schefter was like everyone's favorite. I used to love Adam Schefter, right? I couldn't find a person on.
That's what I'm saying. I used to really like this guy.
Like Adam Schefter. It really went to shit. ESPN has gone to shit. I'm not going to sit here and keep talking about ESPN because they're owned by Walt Disney and will be crushed within a week. But Adam Schefter, you suck.
Goodbye,
you suck.
everybody.
I hate you. I hate you because of Aaron Rodgers, and now honestly, I hate you even more because now I have to like support Tom Brady in any way, shape, or form.
Kyle coming in, his mom's probably like, why is my son such a disappointment? That's so terrible. Oh my God. Water is not wet, according. Fox had the wrong teams in the 2004 Super Bowl. I don't know what that means, but anyway, water is not wet, according to Scoop. And then Kawhi Mike corrects me saying water makes things wet. So that's not true. Like,
no, it is.
Water is wet. What? Where are we going with this? I'm not having this deep conversation about what.
Is this like the chicken and the egg thing? Are
this
we
is
do
like.
that?
Do you realize that this is like a TikTok or probably a Vine? It was probably even before TikTok. This is a viral video where there was a huge argument with a bunch of friends about talking about, is water wet? I don't think it is wet.
So if you grab water, it's not wet?
Like
If you grab it, if there's a stream of water coming down and you touch it, is it not
makes
wet?
Your hand is now wet.
And now, and in
No,
addition to
like,
that, your hand is now
it's
wet.
just water. It's like you don't touch wet water. It's just you're touching water, and now your hand is wet.
I can't. Oh God, this is where we're at. Happy Monday.
So,
in any event, back to Adam Schefter sucking at his job. This is what happens. What
are you touching? It's like, is air dry?
Oh my God!
You know, like, are we going to get into this?
Yeah, I know we're not.
We'll talk about this after, and
because I can't
I'll
do it.
prove you.
Wetness is a sensation, according to
Pause.
Scoop. Yeah, seriously, that's a plausible moment there, Scoop. I'm not getting into this. I'm not. What about condensation? All right, you know what? Everybody, stop. I didn't go to the Lakers game because they were playing the fucking podcast. Like, this is not the time. Anyway, so
is Adam? No,
the source that Adam Schefter has is obviously wrong, and it needs to be corrected before he goes out and tries to break more news. Because, and you know what? No apology was put out there. There was a fake account that put out the apology about Castellanos going long and hitting a home run, and then the Cincinnati Reds go up. Like, those are the funny things. Like, Twitter is a magical place. It is a dark place, but it's a magical place when it comes to people making fun of it. The memes were just incredible. But in reality, let's just say that Tom Brady does in fact retire, right? $20 million comes off the books in the Bucks. You think he did? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to say like, hey, the Bucks are going to be like, yeah, dude, go ahead, retire. Like $20 million.
No, the Bucks want Tom Brady back.
Okay. That's all I was going to ask.
Stop.
Bro, end this conversation. Let's talk about how the Knicks are -5.5 lock of the century. No, I'm not. First of all, I made money over the weekend fading the Knicks for the first time.
And
I felt dirty about
prize
it.
to Tom
Who they
Brady.
playing? Better be Orlando, right?
I don't even know.
Oh, you don't know?
How many times are they going to play Orlando?
I don't know,
Like
but
they played them every fucking day.
He says, how are the Knicks 5.5 favorites over anybody? So they must have to play the bottom feeders of the league right now. That's what I'm
So
saying.
they play themselves?
Probably in an I said interracial, inter squad team.
It's incestuous.
Kings at home. All right, so yeah.
I wonder if
go
all
with
the Bucks fans are going to stick around, or are they going to jump back to New England?
They probably will. They probably will. The Bucks are relevant, according to Scoop.
At least they'll be able to get Godwin back.
I mean, maybe
because now if they get 20 million.
Well, if they get 20 million, yeah, but who's going to throw him the ball? That's the problem. Kings have lost 11. You know, Kyle. Look, I'm not gonna question what you do, right? Because sometimes you nail them, right? But I rode your Bulls stuff, not Bulls. Who was it? He's like, Portland Trail Blazers. They're a sneaky good road team.
Are you good?
I'm not good right now because I lost money on that bet and I was very upset. But I'm not gonna write.
I'm
not gonna write the website or send Dina a message like Kyle's a piece of shit because I lost money.
You'll just wait to do it on your live show,
and then I'll do.
It's like it's probably worse. But yeah, you can't cherry pick.
Love
dude.
Kyle. I know.
You gotta,
the bet of the day is hit a couple times in the last couple of days, right? So. Anyway, go visit Kyle on his YouTube channel. His YouTube videos usually
my father's obsessed with the NBA now and Kyle's picks. It's crazy how I'm coming. I walk in and my father's like, he's like, so you like Milwaukee today? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
It's Kyle's bet of the day.
He's like, yeah, he's like, the sauce is better. He's like, all right, yeah, I love it then, apparently.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, I'm not gonna fault you, Kyle. He said I love the Blazers yesterday. That one hurt. It hurt me too. But it is what it is. So a couple of things before we get out of here. There were some transactional moves with organizations. Two teams have found their head coach, and there's only a couple vacancies left. The Vikings, I mean, we haven't even talked about that, but the Vikings are interviewed Jim Harbaugh, which is, I didn't think that could be a thing or even was it remotely going to be a thing. It's not going to be a long lateral move. You're going to go from Minnesota to Michigan. So it's not that far in between. But that's one of the stories. But two teams actually got their guys. I don't know who you put in what order. There we go. The Giants. Okay, so the Giants get their guy. You would think that there's already a statue built outside the stadium for this guy because the Giants fans are reacting positively. And look, when you move on from Joe Judge, who left a terrible, terrible taste in your mouth, like you go on to Brian Daboll, and I think that his offensive mind is really good, right? And you're going from having a special teams coordinator to having an offensive coordinator. So can he bring out the best in Daniel Jones? I'm just also here to tell you guys to relax for a little bit because Daniel Jones is not Josh Allen. So he's got he's got his hands full when it comes to running this Giants offense.
I don't think any Giants fan is going out there expecting Daniel
You'd be
Jones
surprised.
to be Josh Allen. No, I mean, like, those people just are disconnected. So you're talking to people that don't even deserve a conversation.
Oh,
when
wow.
you're having that, when you're
Brutal.
saying that,
You hear
right?
that? Don't even talk to him.
Brian Dable is a step up from what they had, because what they had was obviously bad. So will he be the man? Who knows? But coming from a situation, I do like the Joe Shane guy. I listened to him, his talk,
He
his
seems like a
conversation,
confident
his
dude.
press conference. He definitely sounds like he knows what he's doing. Sounding like you know what you're doing and actually knowing what you're doing are two different things. So we'll see.
Totally.
New York is not an easy place. But if he has some success, they will get behind him. And look, Daniel Jones hasn't had an opportunity yet. It's exciting to see him get an opportunity.
Hasn't had an opportunity yet.
He hasn't had a real opportunity yet.
Daniel Jones is a terrible quarterback.
I don't care what you say. You're not sitting there
I'm
evaluating
watching
his talent.
him.
Okay.
It's proof's in the pudding.
He has a terrible offensive line. They wasted a terrible pick on Saquon. Granted, they probably shouldn't have picked Daniel Jones where they did. The receivers can't stay healthy. The defense hasn't been good for 2 out of the 3 years that he's been there. And he's had Ben McAdoo and Joe Judge. So I will definitely give him not a pass.
Give him a pass.
I'm not giving him a
Yeah,
pass,
sounds like a
but
pass.
I'm going to, the situation that I'm in, I'm not going to be like, you know what, Daniel Jones at 25 years old, he clearly has some ability, right? Because he has
Yes, we see
shown,
he's got the wheels,
but he's
right.
got, he's not going to be the man. He's not going to be an all-pro quarterback, but to say that Daniel Jones sucks, and we'll see.
Do you think Lawrence sucks too, David? No, I think Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. I know that's when you know it's getting serious. You start calling me David. But no, Trevor Lawrence is good. Look, the Giants got their guy. I think he's going to be good for the team. He's a lot better. He's definitely an upgrade from what they had. Joe Judge was a schmuck when he came in. He just felt like he was trying too hard to be Belichick. This guy seems like, he seems like the gritty blue collar. I'm going to go in there and get my knees.
I think the Giants did a
dirty.
good job
My
in the
knees
past
dirty.
2 weeks, considering where they were at, in relation to their fan base and how the season ended. And it was just really, really bad in New York. And the Joe Judge, let's think about that, right? So where Giants fans were a couple weeks back and they had to listen to Joe Judge talk for 40 minutes straight about how he was going to go out there in week 18 and do quarterback sneaks on 3rd and 9 inside his own 5. So they had to deal with that. And now they get
True.
this going into, the offseason with a new GM who's kind of an exciting guy to hear talk. Like, I was like, I'm impressed by the way he's talking, brings in a guy that he's familiar with. So it's not like it's all brand new to everybody. They kind of know what they're doing already together. And you got 2 top 10 picks. I would be excited if I was a Giants fan, just because it's like, it's just not what we've been dealing with. And there's a possible bright future ahead.
I'm curious to know who they bring in as their OC. I mean, there's been
They're talking like Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey might be the guy. Yeah. So the
But
Giants
it is interesting, though. I will bring this up. Ken Dorsey, you would imagine, is also in line. You would imagine that Ken Dorsey's also in line to get the Bills offensive coordinator job. So if I have a choice
Like,
between
this is the Ken Dorsey quarterback Miami, right? Oh my God.
if I have the choice between being the Bills OC, given the current situation right there, I'm going to be the Bills offensive coordinator because I just watched the Bills offensive coordinator get hired as an NFL head coach. So if I'm Ken Dorsey, I'm not going to New York to work with Daniel Jones. I'm going to stick around with Josh Allen and see if I could parlay that into a head coaching job.
We have a question coming from the comments. Jay Silva, Mr. Bears rep himself. Thoughts on Luke Getsy, Christopher?
I'm not even talking to Jay Silverberg right now. Why are we going to have this conversation? Luke Getsy, he's going to have the same situation that Hackett had, right? You have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. If it is Aaron Rodgers, in fact, then we'll be in good shape.
Okay. All right. There's another coach that got hired, which a little bit of a surprise. I was pulling for Balsakia.
Mm-hmm.
I was pulling for him. I
He
really
got an
did.
interview.
Did he?
Yeah, he's interviewing for the Jacksonville job.
Oh, shit. Like, come on. I guess he would fit there. But
I mean,
anyway.
Yeah,
I guess. But I'm surprised. Look, here's the thing. If Ralph is a good coach, then why the frig are the Houston Texans not bringing him in? Like, Josh McCown is all of a sudden getting his second interview. This is numbing. Texans don't care. It's a shame. But who does care? The Raiders. They're bringing in Josh McDaniels. Now, obviously, we've seen what Josh McDaniels has done in New England. He did have a brief stint with the Broncos as their head coach. Didn't work out as a head coach. This is his second go around. Do you think, knee-jerk reaction, Chris, do you think that this guy's second go around will be a lot better than the first?
I think it's hard to say. the Raiders are one of those. I think that there's going to be beef immediately between him and Derek Carr. It's the way I think Josh McDaniels is. I feel bad for Derek Carr in this situation. Josh McDaniels reminds me of Gruden. I don't know why. Like a mixture of Gruden and Bill Belichick. Yeah, he just seems like a douche. When I look at his face, I want to slap him.
Slappable face.
He has a slappable face. And it didn't work out for Denver. I don't know why the Raiders think it'll work out. I've never liked Josh McDaniels. I think that he's a failed head coach, and he's one of those perfect candidates that's a really good OC. And I'm surprised that I'm seeing this move. They must be paying him a ton of money because I think that he was waiting for the Belichick job.
That's what everybody thought. And like Belichick can't coach forever.
Outside of Flores, who we're not even sure if Flores is a good head coach or not because of all the controversy that's surrounding him. But outside of Flores, like show me an assistant, a Belichick assistant that's gone on and done great things. They're Vrabel, but Vrabel was more like a Belichick former player than he was a former head coach or former assistant. Maybe he was there for a little bit with the Patriots, but I'm not even sure, honestly.
What, as far as an assistant coach?
Did Vrabel coach with the Patriots?
Had to have done he didn't go right straight to head coaching without any experience.
But I'm not saying that he didn't coach somewhere else. I'm saying he probably coached somewhere else.
I'm assuming he was a linebackers coach or something for the Patriots. I don't know.
Either way. There hasn't been a great track record for Patriots assistants coming out of New England, going into other places and doing well. And Josh McDaniels has been a failed experiment twice. He spurned the Colts. So I would imagine that if
he might spurn the Raiders.
Yeah, if
Belichick retires, he might say like,
I don't know about that. But they also did bring in a Patriots executive to be the GM. So that also is a very similar situation to the Bills and the Giants and
the Raiders were so likable too at one point. And now it's like you're bringing in New England blood. Ooh, I don't know.
Were the Raiders
I
really likable? I mean, like I've always liked the Raiders, but I feel like a lot of people don't. Like
really?
The Raiders. Yeah. I don't know that they're very likable. They're the most penalized team. The league doesn't like them. That's for sure.
Dallas Cowboys said, hold my beer when it comes to most penalized teams in the league.
Yeah, there's probably a representative from every single team in the NFL in that email chain, and only the Raiders got screwed. So
that's perfect. Oh boy. Well, look, we have ourselves a Super Bowl. We have ourselves a potential change of the guard. Dude, that NFC is going to look weird. Like if Brady goes and we don't know what's going to happen with Rodgers, yes, your signs and your sources have said that you would think he's staying around.
I know nothing. Anybody that says that they know anything is completely wrong. Like I think based on what I heard, Aaron Rodgers will be the Packers quarterback next year. The only legitimate other situation that I could see would be retirement. I don't see him forcing a trade, but if he is going to force a trade, I will say I think it'll be Denver.
Oh, okay. That's the first time you've actually said that.
If there is the forcing of anything, it's not going to be anywhere but Denver. And I'm going to say why.
Why is that appealing?
Because Shailene Woodley's his fiance and she lives in Boulder, Colorado. Nathaniel Hackett is the coordinator. So it does make sense in that regard. I'm just calling it like I see it. I also don't see it happening. I don't see.
Okay.
It's going to take a fractured relationship. People saying that, they're beefing from last year. They don't know the situation. They're just saying that based on what the media is saying or an article that they might have read. It's all bullshit. We're going to find out in a couple weeks what Rodgers will do. You'll know before the draft. You'll know before free agency and all that.
All right. Well, this is the offseason for 30 other teams right now, and 31 and 32 are going to be chilling there waiting to play a game in SoFi Stadium over in Los Angeles. That'll be interesting. We'll talk about that. There's a lot of stuff to get into. Like I said, big week for Chop Sports. If all goes well, you're going to be looking at somebody who, guys that broke the story before anybody else. So that'll instant credibility, or it'll instantly crush us. So we'll see. I blame my source for that one, and I'm sure he's watching right now. So if you're wrong, you're wrong. So that's how I'll leave that one. So of course, thank you guys. Listen, you're watching this, like this video right now. Like it, please, for the love of God, like this video. Subscribe to the channel. We had a nice little influx. And shout out to those who are sharing the YouTube channel. I know the Palumbo family, all 19,000 of them have been sharing out the podcast and the YouTube channel along with Janine. They're doing their part. Do yours. Share the link. Tell your friends. That's the only way we're going to grow, outside of me literally just sending you DMs like follow this or you're not my friend anymore. So, I can threaten those things and maybe my friendship isn't as valuable, but please do yourself a favor. Subscribe to the network, subscribe to this YouTube channel. And for Sturch and Gooch, and of course, producer Dina, this has been another episode of the Chop Sports Daily. We'll be back tomorrow with hopefully something to talk about. It's going to be a rough couple weeks, man.
Dave's about to go die on that Cooper Kupp hill.